And if you let folks know, I'm at the meeting, there are people here, I don't know what they're looking for because they haven't noticed that you're students. But I'm not going to be able to stay for the whole meeting. I'm going to try to do what I can because it's my wife's birthday. If I don't show up on her birthday, but I'll be here for the 3 other meetings. And so we'll see what happens. Okay?
Library together.
Good evening. We apologize for being a few minutes late. We have returned to open session at 6:09. All in attendance will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Megan Pierre, Roland High School student.
Can everybody please stand up, face the flag, take off any hats you may be wearing, put your right hand over your heart, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There is no closed session report tonight. Next, we are going to move to board recognition. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Mitchell at this time.
Perfect, thank you. We have a group of students from Roland High School that we would like to recognize this evening. If the board could please join me in the front of the dais. I'll ask Dr. Zamora to please come to the mic.
Thank you. Tonight we're excited to recognize our National Merit Scholarship Program recipients. The National Merit Scholarship Program is an academic competition for recognition and scholarships that began in 1955. High school students enter the National Merit Program by taking the PSAT, or the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, a test that served as an initial screening for more than 1.6 million students. The National Merit Scholarship Program commended students from Roland High School. There are 10 students who are being recognized by the 2020 National Merit Scholarship Board for exceptional academic promise demonstrated by their outstanding performance on the qualifying test used for program entry. These students are among the 50,000 highest scoring participants and were each named a 2019 National Merit Scholarship Program commended student. The RUSD board is here to congratulate the following students. We also have our principal, Mr. Mitch Brunier, here, and I'd like to recognize him as well. Our commended students are Derek Ann, CU10, Alexis Lau, Nicholas Lau, Amy Lee, Sarah Liang, Justin Liu, Justin Gerard Pettis, have two semifinalists that we'd like to bring up as well. We have semifinalist Milo Chang and Ethan Shay. Please join me in congratulating their outstanding performance.
On behalf of the board, I would like to recognize and thank the Roland High School students, parents, staff, and community members for providing the refreshments at tonight's board meeting. Roland High School Principal Mitchell Brunier, along with students Jeffrey Nusso, Chloe Amper, Lee Yang, Megan Gear, and Ariana Zapata, will provide a brief report highlighting what is going on at their organization.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Mitchell, and members of the audience. My name is Megan Gear, and I am the 2019 to 2020 ASB President for Roland High School. I am accompanied by my executive board, and we are here today to present to you all that Roland High School has to offer. This is our Roland High School mission statement. We are committed to the development of all students as thinkers, communicators, and contributors, which would be accomplished through instructional practices and curriculum marked by rigor, relevance, and relationships. Our students will be supported as they engage in high school experience, graduate, and become responsible members of society. Our staff and students got together to create our Raider goals: thinkers, communicators, and contributors. These goals are practiced within the classroom and are present throughout all of the extracurriculars we have to offer. ASB also centers our rallies and activities around these ideals. Our presentation will go more in depth into what each goal is and how it is implemented into our campus. Let me introduce to you Jeffrey No, who will be going over thinkers.
Thank you, Megan. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey No, and I'm Roland High School's ASB Treasurer for this school year. Our first rated goal is to be a thinker. Rowland High School exhibits the characteristics of thinkers through the curriculum and activities established by the administrators and staff to prepare students to be confident problem solvers of society. Rowland High School offers students the choice to make more advanced and rigorous courses with the addition of academic organizations to further expand the students' involvement for their preferred career pathways. Here are some of the academic aspects of Rowland High School. 75% of all students at Rowland who take an AP test pass with a 3 or higher for all AP tests. Our honor classes enrollment have increased by 1%, and it's a 20% increase over the past 11 years. There's a 3% increase of students that take an ATG course at Rowland High School. Our state testing results have increased in both English, reading, and writing, as well as mathematics. Rowland is proud to have 10 of our own students commended as National Merit Scholars, 2 semifinalists, and 2 in the National Hispanic Recognition Program. The growth and focus of our CTE programs include the transition of ROP classes to RUSD classes, upgraded facilities like our new medical room, and our high-tech projects including the assembly of an electric car by our own auto students. All of our CT courses are articulated with Mount SAT, with the exception of auto, which is articulated with Rio Honda. Rowland also offers academic competitions for students to join, like FCCLA, FBLA, Academic Decathlon, and more, that compete locally, state, and nationwide. Now I'd like to introduce our ASB speaker, Hal, our speaker of our house today.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leigh Yang, and I'm the Speaker of the House for the 2019-2020 school year. And today I will be presenting on communicators. Right, so I believe that there is good communication between the staff and the administration at our school. If students have any questions or comments, they're always free to contact our staff. Our staff is often seen around campus and at most school-related events, whether it is educational, athletic, or related to any performing arts. There's also good communication between students through the use of social media and e-flyers. There are also many ASB events around our campus too, where various efforts are put in to bring participation and awareness to issues that our students may have. Many support days are set throughout the school year. For example, there's no backpack day, where students learn about the Raider goals, and Digital Citizenship Day, which is coming up soon. Our school offers many visual performing arts activities, including groups that hold festivals, competitions, as well as performing in certain school events. Parent involvement is also very active. For example, there's the Parent Academy, Pueblo, Booster Clubs, PTSA, English Language Advisory Committee, School Site Council, that all help to better our school and all work towards the students. Rowland's website and parent portal is another resource where usage is high. Parents can find answers to their questions and more information about the school and its different events. College and Career Center is also coming soon to our school. Next, I'll be introducing our Vice President, Chloe Amber.
Good evening. My name is Chloe Amford, and I'm this year's ASB Vice President this year. Rowland High School students have a variety of ways to contribute to our school by joining clubs, athletics, and VAPA, or in other words, visual arts and performing arts. Rowland offers a variety of over 65 clubs on campus, including leadership and service clubs. We also have the academic competition groups such as FCCLA, Academic Decathlon, Mock Trial, ProStart, Auto, and Skills USA, which are extracurricular that focus on scholarship achievement. This is to help students learn skills that will allow them to go into the world and do something better for our community. Some examples and acolytes would be FCCLA, a group that has students included on the state board, FBLA, which has competitions throughout the year that many students have placed in, Skills USA, which competes in robotics, POSA, which focuses on health and medicine, and ProStart, which focuses on culinary arts. These groups offer countless opportunities to receive scholarships and are able to cater to the diverse interests at our campus. We offer different avenues for students to contribute outside of the classroom. Our athletics also has new opportunities such as Badminton Club, which advanced to CIF for the first time. Due to these kinds of contributions, we earned the 5-time Valley Vista League Sportsmanship Award and CIF Champions of Character Award school-wide. Many groups on campus also contribute to facilitating the annual Buckboard Day Parade for community service. Clubs such as CSF and Key Club do beach cleanups and and/or participate in the AIDS Walk. The Roland High School History Department is also now working with the Los Angeles County Department of Regional to create a policy document of the East San Gabriel Valley over the next few decades. Now I'll be introducing our ASB Secretary, Ariana Zapata.
Good evening, my name is Ariana Zapata and I am the ASB Secretary at Roland. As a result of all the hard work and dedication both students and staff put into making Roland High School the best it can be, Roland has been recognized by the state as a Gold Ribbon School and a California Distinguished School. Additionally, Roland has received a recent WASC accreditation for the next 6 years, as well as been recognized for our outstanding CTE program. Over the years, Roland High School has been an environment that has helped so many of its students learn, grow, and move on to the next chapter in their lives. Our school will continue to thrive and push its students towards excellence. Future Raiders will know what it means to be a thinker, communicator, and contributor. Thank you.
And while you're coming forward, on behalf of the Board of Education, you guys did an outstanding job. Thank you so much. We enjoyed your presentation. Next is the superintendent's report by Dr. Mitchell.
Perfect, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to share, we have a few events that are coming up. Wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of our Buckboard Day Parade. It is coming up on Saturday, October the 19th. So please come out and join our community in this annual event. We have many of our schools and students and staff participating. So look forward to seeing everyone there. Also, we have our 4th annual State of the Schools, which is on Friday, October the 25th, which is supported and sponsored by the For Us Foundation. Also wanted to share that this evening is the first of 4 public hearings that we have the opportunity to hear from the public regarding the California Voting Rights Act and the potential move to voting area districts or by trustee voter area districts. And so we have our public hearing this evening on the 10th of October. We'll have another public hearing on the 24th of October, a third public hearing on the 14th of November, and the last public hearing on December the 12th. So in addition to the public hearings that are being held here with the board, we do have information meetings that are taking place throughout the community in various community groups to be able to share information and ask any questions of our community. We also have all of this information on our district webpage. So you can find information under the California Voting Rights Act or CVRA on our district webpage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we will move to the student board representatives' reports. Liang, Rowan High School ASB Speaker of the House, will provide a report.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Mitchell, and members of the audience. My name is Lei Yang, and I am the 2019 through 2020 Speaker of the House for Roland High School. From the last board meeting in September 12th, many events have taken place during this busy month of school. The first event that took place in September was our senior event, the Senior Barbecue on the 13th. The event was a success as many seniors showed up wearing orange in support of anti-bullying. They were served hot dogs, chips, and lemonade. Seniors also had the opportunity to vote for the top 6 homecoming court. On September 19th, Roland High School hosted the district's annual fair night. Students and parents were well informed through the multitude of colleges at the fair. They advertised their school and provided students and parents with the information they needed before making their big decision. Although there was no school on September 20th, the Roland football team still held a home game against Diamond Bar that Friday. Students were decked out in neon colors, as the theme night was Neon Night, and were able to throw powder at the end to celebrate their win. On September 22nd, the festivities for the Homecoming Week began, with the decorating of the school buildings in preparation for the Homecoming Spirit Week. homecoming rally, homecoming halftime, and the homecoming dance. The school was filled with spirit, as blue and yellow posters, as well as a number of photo ops surrounded all parts of the school. Monday, September 23rd marked the first day of the Homecoming Spirit Week. Students dressed up in jerseys, as the Monday Spirit Day was Jersey Day. Tuesday was Twin Day, where students could find a partner and wear the exact same clothing with each other. The Homecoming Top 6 rally also took place that Tuesday, where the 6 homecoming princesses and 6 princes were introduced and demonstrated their dancing skills. Students voted for the homecoming king and queen after the rally at the quad. Wednesday was Drip or Drown, where students decked out in as many brands as they could. Thursday was TikTok Day, which was a reference to the viral video-taking app that has started many trends. Students could dress up as any trend that originated from the app. Lastly, Friday was Return of Roll and Thunder. The whole school was encouraged to wear our school colors, blue and gold. This was also our annual Homecoming Spirit Rally. The Spirit Rally included performances from choir, cheer, drumline, dance club, boy cheerleaders, and our 2 new mascots. We promoted the homecoming game and battled the tracks, and even a dance from our own ASB. A surprise event was held at the rally, as our principal, Mr. Bunyer, was newly inducted into the Roland Hall of Fame. The same night, we held our homecoming game, which also happens to be our Battle of the Tracks game against Nogales High School. Our students showed up in blue and gold in the spirit of keeping Tina, our Battle of the Tracks trophy. During the halftime show, the new homecoming queen, Janelle Alvarado, was announced, and the fireworks were set off to congratulate all the nominees and a win at the end of the night. Saturday, September 28th was our homecoming dance. The theme was City Beyond the Stars. This year, we included more interactive photo ops, like a balloon wall, and introduced the flipbook, which is a series of pictures that when flipped through, would make it seem like the students in the picture are moving. All of the decorations and backdrops made it seem like we were in a city in the clouds. The homecoming king, Milo Chang, was also announced at the dance. Our dance brought in many different students, and everyone enjoyed the night. The introduction of Say Hello Week also took place the same week as Homecoming Spirit Week. On Monday, students made and passed out motivational rocks to other students during lunch at our new quad. On Tuesday, a Zumba class was held during lunch at the Hideout. On Wednesday, ASB members and club officers were encouraged to go out of their comfort zone to talk to someone. October 7th will be our parent-teacher conferences. October 18th is Digital Citizenship Day, where all the students will be led in a variety of lessons. New this year is a presentation from CyberCop. The assembly will be all about cyber safety. The presentation to students will cover the following topics: not allowing strangers in your network, the consequences of mean, rude, or threatening messages, sexual exploitation, criminal harassment, and threats, and how to respond to these issues. The ultimate message of the presentation is how to create a positive online reputation. From October 21st to the 25th, Roland will have another Spirit Week, this time focusing on character awareness. For each day, students are encouraged to wear a certain color to represent a certain trait. Monday is responsibility and citizenship, which is represented by the colors purple and green. This day will also include a presentation to all students on the places to go if students are in need of assistance. Tuesday is trust, which is represented by the color blue. Wednesday is fairness, which is represented by the color orange. Thursday is family, represented by the colors of pink and red, to go along with our football theme night of Pink Out. Friday will be respect, which is represented by the color yellow. Different activities will be planned during lunchtime to provide students with information and stress-releasing activities. The last week of October will be the annual Red Ribbon Week. Another Spirit Week will be happening, as well as activities during lunch to provide students with the negative effects of drugs. The final day of this Spirit Week will be Halloween, Scare Off Drugs. We will host our Halloween rally that will be held at lunch. There will be a costume competition judged by Mr. Bunyer. Our performing arts program are busy practicing for the upcoming competitions. I personally invite the board members and district personnel to our annual band field show this Saturday night at Roland High School. The field show begins at 3 p.m. with our very own Roland Regiment taking the field at 8 p.m. I look forward to seeing the entire field show. Through this busy month of many activities, Roland High School has continued and will continue to represent the Raider goals of being thinkers, communicators, and contributors to become a better Raider every day. Thank you.
On behalf of the board, thank you for sharing all the things that are happening at Roland High School. We appreciate it. Next, Jacqueline Sanchez and Excelia Trujillo, Santa Ana High School ASB members will provide a report. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, members of the board, and Dr. Mitchell. It's good to meet you My name is Jacqueline Sanchez. We enjoyed when Dr. Rivas, Dr. Mitchell visited us at Santana. We especially appreciate your help, Dr. Mitchell, when we ran into a problem with our balloon stomp, and you helped us find a new area for the event to take place. We have had some really fun activities at Santana, which one was a balloon stomp, along with a field trip to the North Orange County Justice Center, where we met and talked with multiple judges. We also had the opportunity to observe a jury trial. It was a very enlightening and sometimes intense experience. Activities that are coming up at Santana are a field trip to Cal State Long Beach, a field trip to the Laguna Art Museum, and October 17th is our back to school night. ASB is also getting ready for our first blood drive of the year. Today we had our first mental health fair where multiple agencies came up and spoke with us about the services they have for anyone who is struggling with mental health issues. Teen Line spoke to the whole school on the subjects of bullying and suicide. We would like to thank you for supporting Santana. We appreciate the smaller environment and smaller class sizes where we have the freedom to ask questions, to grow in our people skills, and be ourselves. Being in a small school allows us to develop one-on-one relationship with staff members and students. Having the support of the Santana staff gives us the confidence we need to recover credits and work towards our graduation. Thank you for taking the time to come visit us at our school and investing in Santana. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much for all those things you said about Santana. Next, we will have a staff report. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Mitchell at this time. Oh, I wanted to make sure no Allison is not here. Brianna Lopez, correct? Okay, sorry.
All right, at this time I'm going to turn the podium over to Dr. Michael Tincup, who is our Director of Special Education, to share just a very brief information and presentation to the board on PIR, which is Performance Indicator Review. So he just has a few slides to share to update the board with the work that's taking place.
Okay, we'll figure it out. Good evening, board, cabinet, Dr. Mitchell. I have some exciting results to share with you tonight regarding special education and our performance indicator review. In special education, we have quite a few mandates that we have to comply with. PIR is one of them. There are 17 special education state performance indicators that we have to comply with the California Department of Education. It gets a little complicated, so I'm going to keep it simplistic tonight with respect to just talking about PIR. PIR is one of 4 compliance processes that the state of California requires us to engage in. PIR covers 8 of the 17 indicators. Those 8 indicators are 1 through 5, 6, 8, and 14. I'm going to talk about what those are in a minute. But if you're out of compliance on any of those 8 indicators, you become a member of PIR and you get to do certain things to try and improve your progress with students with disabilities. So we've been identified for PIR for the last 4 years since I've been here. And the way that the data is collected, it's actually pulled out of the students' IEPs. And then we take a look at the data, and if we miss certain percentages in certain areas, then we're found out of compliance and we have to improve. All California districts are engaged in PIR, and a majority of them, particularly in the area of statewide assessments, in ELA and math. So, I don't know what happened to that slide, but Yeah, boy, I really went haywire. So 1, graduation rates, that's one of the 8. 2, dropout rate. 3, statewide assessments. 4 is suspension and expulsion. 5 is least restrictive environment. I'll expound on that in a minute. 6 is preschool LRE. 8 is parent involvement, and 14 is post-school outcomes. So when we talk about least restrictive environment, the others are somewhat self-explanatory, but 5 is a really important one because least restrictive environment basically references 2 things. When a student is identified as having needs and requires special education services, there are goals that we create, and those goals are met by services to reach those goals. The services can be provided in a general education setting or a special education setting. The least restrictive environment is considered 100% in a general education setting. The most restrictive environment is 100% in a special education setting. So what happens is when they look at these data, CDE really wants to see most of our students with disabilities being educated in the least restrictive environment. So as close as possible to 100% in the general education setting. I'll come back to what our percentages are in a minute, but I wanted to talk a little bit about our improvement over time with respect to just the indicators. In 2015-16, we were out of compliance on 4 indicators: graduation rate, statewide assessments, least restrictive environment, and post-school outcomes. Last year, we were out of compliance only on 2 indicators. So those are great gains. We're really excited about that we went from 4 to 2. But we're still out of compliance in the areas of statewide assessments and LRE. So the statewide assessments, again, are referencing ELA and math in particular, and students with disabilities performances in those areas. And then I just explained least restrictive environment. So these data are actually the most exciting data. So before I get into it though, less restrictive environment, we want the number to decrease. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then obviously, in the achievement areas, we want the number to increase. So what the LRE indicator asks us to do, and where we've worked really, really hard, is that CDE wants to see less than 22.6% of students with disabilities in a regular education class less than 40% of the day. So again, I know these statistics, so less than 22% of students with disabilities, we have about 1,560. In the regular education class, less than 40% of the day. So you want that percentage to come down. You want it to get below 22.6. In 15-16, we were at 35%. Most recently, we're down to 25%. To me, that is a fantastic gain, and we're really, really excited about it. In terms of ELA achievement and math achievement, this is even better statistics and better news tonight, because we just got our scores officially yesterday. In ELA, we want greater than 14.9% to get out of performance indicator review, meeting the requirements of CDE. And in 17-18, we were at 14%, just missed the mark. But more recently, which was yesterday, we got to 16%. And we are now officially out of PIR for ELA. So that is a fantastic achievement, and actually really, really excited about it. Similarly in math, greater than 12.6% is what is required by CDE. We were 11% in 17-18 and increased again to 16%. So again, we have made great gains in ELA and math for our students with disabilities. I'm very, very happy and very, very proud to continue to be part of the RUSD team. So thanks.
Mike, on behalf of the board, just want to say thank you so much for great news, and I'll thank you for all your hard work. I appreciate it. You and your team.
Thanks.
Dr. Mitchell, are there any comments this evening?
Yes, we do have comments this evening.
Please note the public is welcome to provide comment to the board. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes unless extended or limited by vote of the board. A maximum of 20 minutes unless extended by the board is allocated for each subject discussed. The Brown Act open meeting regulations under which the board must operate do not allow board members to comment on non-agenda items or information you may bring up that are not in the agenda. Additionally, no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to staff following a comment. Sharon Carrillo.
Good evening, Board of Education members, Superintendent Julie Mitchell, cabinet members, and audience. I'm here this evening to speak about our frustrations in negotiations. Every story has two sides, and we feel that the board hears only what the district wants to share with you. Now, before I continue on, I do want to acknowledge that in the summer, CSEA continued to meet and negotiate. In July, we all believed that we might have an agreement. However, we had a fresh set of eyes review the items, and there was room for improvement. I'm not sure what, if anything, has been relayed to you about this, but our facilitator, Steve Barber, has said that you don't have an agreement until you have an agreement on everything. So for us to go back and review the items of interest was not against any rules of negotiating with the IBB method. On Friday, October 4th, after hours of discussion and 88 options granted that have been developed on that day and in previous meetings, we still could not come up with a stick design for one article. There were a couple of times when we said we agree and it was going to be typed up, but then something came up. One time it came back, but was not what we agreed to. In regards to the early retirement incentive for December, we realize at this point it is not going to happen. It's unfortunate that it did not happen, and there are many, many disappointed employees. So the district had mentioned an early retirement incentive for June or earlier. Why is it so hard for the district to even give us a deadline to have everything in place in order to proceed with the June date? We want the district to negotiate in good faith. Come to the sessions prepared and ready to move forward with no delay. We are asking the board to direct the district to move forward with negotiations and come to the sessions ready to negotiate. Thank you.
Marco Maldonado.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, and district management. I'd like to just piggyback off of what Sharon Carrillo said. I stand before you once again to ask for a simple yet complicated request that the board direct the district to please split the incentive for contract negotiations. I have a duty as a member of CSEA's negotiating team to try to negotiate the best contract for our members here. And it is tough to do that with an artificial deadline on our back. So please, board, direct the district to just split the incentive from negotiations. Thank you.
So we have many people for Associated Roland teachers. I'd like to call their names, and will the following people that have submitted a request to address the board come forward at the time to speak? So that way you can make a line. Because of time. What? Shay? Shay Lohman? Is that okay? Tammy Sawaki?
It's my turn.
You don't want to make a line.
Because wait, Shay, we have 20 minutes on the subject. So if I call, we need them to just ask.
Yeah, they're ready, but, they're ready. So as you call them up after the next speaker, they're ready. So, all right. But the time is when the speakers are speaking. That's more clarify.
Okay,
Right.
Shay Lohman.
Thank you. All right, good evening. My name is Shay Lohman. I'm the president of the Association of Lohman Educators. And it is nice to see so many of my friends and fellow union leaders in attendance tonight, along with our CSCA brothers and sisters. We are here in unity tonight to express our support for the ARE bargaining team. It is essential that it is understood that our contract proposal is a representation of the issues and proposed solutions that 700 educators that we represent have brought forward. I will double down on the argument that I made last month at this podium. We need to be willing to spend down our outrageous level of financial reserves to address the issues brought forward in our bargaining proposal. Such large financial reserves represent unmet needs. It represents students that are without proper support services to address clear and present academic deficiencies. It represents special ed caseloads that are unmanageable. It represents educators taking on jobs that used to be done by our classified brothers and sisters, and in turn leaving us with less time to prepare effective lessons and robbing students of the opportunity to develop meaningful relationships with their educators. Our unreasonable level of reserves represents the fact that our employees have solely taken on the burden of increased healthcare costs since 2014. It represents a salary that is slipping behind our neighboring districts. It represents the fact that our students and our families are being cheated out of tax money allocated for their education and the well-being of this community. Here are some facts. We are spending 4% less of our budget on employee compensation now than we did in 2013 and 14, and that includes our CSCA family. Fact 2, in 2014, many people said our deal at that time would bankrupt our RUSD. We had $54 million at the bank in that time, and last month the unaudited actuals showed nearly the same exact financial reserve as it did in 2014. We said it wouldn't bankrupt us, and it clearly didn't. Trust us when we say that it is affordable. History has proven us correct time and time again. We are clearly asking you tonight to have our back. This community has entrusted you to run this school district with the full expectation and knowledge that you would be listening and supporting your educators. One simple way to display this public support publicly is by wearing your Red for Ed button tonight. And at all of our community, at our grocery stores, show that support for your educators. This, coupled with your leadership on these bargaining issues, will send a clear message to our educators and this community that you stand with us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tammy Sawicki. I'm an educator at Rorimer School. These postcards represent our staff's support for an agreement that honors the work that we do for our students. One simple way to show support is by wearing your Red for Ed button now and out in the community.
Sorry, Lisa Boyd.
Hi, my name is Lisa Boyd, and I work at Killian Elementary. I'm a speech pathologist, and I'm also a credentialed teacher. I am proud to be part of ARE, and I really hope that we can consider putting in the in the contract a cap of 55 students so that we can have excellent quality speech therapy for our students. And I hope that we can consider adding substitutes to help us continue to provide good speech therapy for our students. Thank you so much.
Miguel Espinosa.
Hello, President Friedman, board members, Dr. Mitchell, and members of the cabinet. I'm here to represent the teachers from Giano who couldn't make it tonight. And I'm here also to drop off their cards to ask for your support to honor what they do in the classroom, and to ask you to also read those red buttons tonight and in the community. Thank you.
Maria.
Good evening, my name is Maria Pena and I am an educator at Roland High School, and I'm also representing Shallon Elementary. These are postcards represented from our staff at both schools for an agreement that honors the work that we do for our students. One simple way to show support is by wearing your Red for Ed button now and out in the community. Thank you.
Alicia Hernandez. Alicia Hernandez.
Good evening, board members and superintendent. I'm here to represent Alvarado Middle School. They couldn't be here because of parent conferences, but I'm here to say on their behalf that we ask for your support in the contract and negotiations. We stand by ARE, and we hope that you do too. Thank you.
Debbie.
Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Dr. Mitchell, members of the board, and the cabinet. My name is Debbie Dowk. I'm an educator and specifically a kindergarten teacher at Telesis Academy. These postcards that you are receiving represent our staff's support for an agreement that, of course, honors the work that we do for our students. We also would like to thank you for your continued support and the understanding. We believe that together we will continue to do what is best for our students and the teachers who work hard to ensure that our students reach their full potential. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Have a good evening.
Hi, my name is Deidre Larson, and I am an ARE board member. I am presenting these cards on behalf of our ARE members who cannot be here due to their professional obligations, Parent Conference Week. We would like the board members to support our agreement that honors the work that we do for our students, and one simple way you can show this is by wearing your Red for Ed pin in the community and right now. Thank you.
Distinguished board members, good evening. Dr. Mitchell, cabinet members. My name is Victor Guzman. I'm an educator at Early Elementary, an amazing dual language school. And the postcards I'm bringing to you represent the hard work that our staff does every day that honors the work that we do for our students to make our district the best there is. And one simple way that you can continue showing the support for our great and amazing staff and our area marketing team is to wear your Red for Ed button now and always throughout the community. Thank you for all you do for us.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rosa Rodriguez. I'm an educator at Nogales High School. These postcards represent our staff support for an agreement that honors the work that we do for our students. One simple way to show support is by wearing the Red for Ed button now and out in the community. Thank you.
Cindy Jones. Cindy?
Hello, my name is Cindy Jones. I teach at Roland Elementary, and I'm here to represent all the teachers at our school. Every one of the ARE members would like you to support our bargaining efforts, and every one of them filled out a postcard showing you that they would like you to show your support for our ARE members.
Michelle Willie. Michelle.
You can't hear over the clapping. My name is Michelle, and I'm an educator at Jellic Elementary. These postcards represent our staff support for an agreement that honors the work that we do for our students. One simple way to show support for is by wearing your Red for Ed button now and out in the community and forever and ever. Thank you.
Yvonne?
Yvonne.
Good evening, Dr. Mitchell and board members. My name is Yvonne Hoffman, and I'm an educator at Hollingworth Elementary. These postcards represent our staff support for an agreement that honors the work that we do for our students. One simple way to show support is by wearing your Red for Ed button now and out in the community. Thank you for your time.
Ivania Ortega.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Mitchell. My name is Ivani Ortega, and I am a special ed educator at Northern Elementary. These cards represent our staff support for an agreement that honors the work that we do with our students. One simple way you can show your support is by wearing your ARE button now and in the community. Thank you.
Melissa.
My name is Melissa Henley. On behalf of our Oswald Academy staff, I'm here tonight to tell you that we strongly support our ARE bargaining team, and these cards send our message that we do need your support. Thank you.
Maria Manua.
Hello. My name is Maria Mauna from Santana High School. I am an ARU rep member. These are postcards that represent our staff support for an agreement that honors the work that we do for our students. One simple way to show support is by wearing your Red for Ed button now and out in the community. Thank you.
Dan Bernal.
Good evening, my name is Dan Bernal, and I'm from Urbita Elementary. And these postcards being handed out by Ms. Fox. She's been with us for 35, but almost 40 years. These postcards, in any case, represent our staff support for an agreement that honors the work that we do for your students and our students. It's one very simple but powerful way to show your support, and also by wearing the Red for Ed buttons now and out in our community. Thank you for your support.
Roy Humphreys.
And would you note that my card was the first card turned in this evening?
Okay, thank you. I'm Roy Humphreys, and the key issue before the board tonight is the California Voters' Rights Act 2001, now delayed 18 years and 2 years after the letter of intent by this board. The issue of 18-year delay of enacting and denial of the voting rights of the citizens of this district must be dealt with most expeditious manner possible. It is a travesty, to say the least. Given the history of civil rights in this country and those who gave their lives and lost their livelihoods due to this, it just amplifies this 18-year delay is an abomination. And also I request that the maps and distribution areas provided by Carlos Perez, attorney at law, regarding this and action be posted on the website, your district website, for download for people's consideration as a point of transparency. And further, we must thank Carlos Perez, but without his endeavor, this travesty of denial of voting rights would have gone on unabated for eternity, as we know the character of this district. And also, these maps, so forth, can be seen on Roland Heights Buzz, on next door Otterbein Fairway, and also on my YouTube site. Thank you. You didn't give me one. Where's my button?
Next, we will have a public hearing regarding the California Voting Rights Act. We're going to have to continue with our meeting. Thank you. I want to clear the room. Thank you for stopping. Next, we will have a public hearing regarding the California Voting Rights Act and transition from an at-large to by trustee area-based voting system for school board members. The board took action and adopted resolution SO 1718-01 on September 14, 2017 to transition to a by trustee area electoral system commencing with the November 2020 election to ensure compliance with the California Voter Rights Act, CVRA. The board will hold a public hearing to receive input from the community on the criteria that will be utilized to establish the trustee area map and identify the trustee areas in which elections will be held in 2020 and 2022. Prior to the opening of the public hearing, Larry Furchaw from Cooperative Strategies will present information on the transition from at-large elections to by trustee area elections. I will turn it over to Dr. Mitchell at this time.
Thank you very much. So this evening we have as President Friedman had shared, we have a brief presentation to share with the audience about the transition from at-large voting to by trustee area. So we have Larry Furshaw, who is here from Cooperative Strategies, and he has a brief PowerPoint presentation which we will load. You can pass that to him. And we also have Ron Wankart here for legal counsel. So it should anyone from the community have any questions, we would be able to answer. But this is a public hearing, so this is not an agendized item for the board piece, but it is our opportunity to hear from the public about the transition and for us to have individuals share. So once this presentation is done, there is the opportunity for the public to provide comment. And should translation services be needed, we do have that available.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell, and members of the board. Larry Farshaw with Cooperative Strategies. It's a brief presentation to go over, just kind of introduce this topic to members of the public so we can have that public hearing. As we discussed, the board is transitioning from an at-large method of election to a by-area method of election. You can see on the screen here there are three methods of election that are allowed under the Education Code: current at-large method of election, a from-area method of election, which involves having voting areas where members are elected from, but it still involves an at-large election for all those board members. And then finally, the by-trustee area method of election is the one that you're transitioning to, which is the only one that is immune from challenge under the California Voting Rights Act. So that again took effect in 2003 and prohibits the use of at-large elections if it can be shown that those elections result in racially polarized voting, that inhibit members of protected classes from being able to influence the outcome of elections. Protected classes are defined under the Federal Voting Rights Act as historic, racial, or ethnic minority groups within this country. And you've taken that action to move forward with this transition at this time. So I know, Dr. Mitchell, you laid out the calendar earlier in the presentation or in the board meeting, so we have that on the screen now. You can see all the board meetings that will be talking about this subject between now and December. We'll have the second pre-map public hearing in 2 weeks, and then on or about November 7th, we'll post on the district's website some proposed scenarios for the board to consider. That will be the subject of the public hearing on November 14th, which will be the first public hearing on the maps themselves, followed by December 12th will be the second public hearing on the maps and the opportunity for the board to select a map and finalize the transition process with the adoption of a resolution requesting that the LA County Committee on School District Organization approve the change. You can see from there, the County Committee on School District Organization will hold a meeting as early as January, maybe a little bit later. They sometimes take a few few months to get the meetings organized, all with the intent of having this completed by the November 2020 election. So the question often is asked, how do you go about drawing these trustee areas? What goes into the process? So we've laid out here the considerations in drawing trustee areas. First and foremost, each one has to be roughly equal in terms of total inhabitants. We are going to have to base this on the 2010 census, which is the most recent time that every nose in the district was counted, so we know how many people were in the district and where they reside, regardless of age or citizenship status. So they have to be roughly equal. We're allowed a variance of up to 10% between the largest and smallest areas, and we'll talk about numbers in a little bit. The areas have to be drawn to comply with the Federal Voting Rights Act, meaning we can't do anything in creating these areas that inhibits members of protected classes from being able to influence the election. So if we had an area where a protected class was congregated in a concentrated area and we went ahead and divided that group up into 2 or 3 areas to dilute their voting strength, that would be something that would be in violation of the Federal Voting Rights Act, so we're not going to do that. The areas have to be contiguous, can't start in one part of the district, stop, and then pick up on the other side of town. They have to be compact as possible. We want to look at communities of interest and keeping those together, and that's really something for the community through these public hearings to help us define what are those communities of interest and where are they and how do we look at those. We want to look at man-made and natural geographic features, trying to make these boundaries logical, easy to follow. Incumbency is an allowable consideration. It can't be a primary consideration, but it can be among the considerations. And lastly, if there was any considerations in terms of school sites, attendance boundaries, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes too. So this slide just highlights the demographic numbers. Again, looking at the 2010 census, 108,603 residents of the district at the time of the 2010 census. That means areas of 21,720 each. Again, plus or minus 10% between the largest and smallest. So that's a variance of 2,100 people between the largest and smallest areas. You can see the ethnic breakdown there, just about equal Hispanic, Latino, and Asian on total population, as well as 18 and over. It skews a little, the Asian percentage increases by about 3 points and the Latino percentage decreases by a little bit. But those are the 2 largest groups and would be considered protected classes under the Federal Voting Rights Act. The map on the left just highlights the different communities that are served within the school district's boundaries. I will pause here to say we've been talking about the 2010 census, and we all know that there's going to be another census in a couple months. Once we get that data in 2021, we'll look at these areas and see if you're in balance still or not. If you're not, then you would have to make adjustments to those areas to get back into that 10% balance. And you'd have until about March of 2022 to get that done for the 2022 election. The next 2 slides look at citizen voting age population. And so we've talked about the 2010 census. Every year the census also does a sampling of households within the United States through the American Community Survey. And they aggregate that data into 5-year rolling averages of information. And so what we call here is the citizen voting age population, or CVAP, just to add another acronym to the school district world. And so this looks at people who are 18 and over and citizens, so therefore would be able to register to vote. So you can see the largest group based on that metric is the Asian population at just about 46%, followed by the Hispanic Latino population at just under 38%, and the white population at about 11.25%. The map on the right-hand side just highlights areas of concentration of Hispanic Latino citizen voting age population. The darker the red color indicates a higher concentration, and we see kind of in that just north of the City of Industry portion, we see a portion of the City of La Puente, South San Jose Hills area, we see the highest concentration areas of Latino citizen voting age population. So that's something we'll keep in mind as we're drawing these areas to keep that group together to ensure that their voting strength is increased through this process. The other map that we show here is the Asian citizen voting age population concentrations. Darker the blue color, the higher the concentration or percentage of Asian citizen voting age population. Here you see in the Walnut area of the district, the higher concentrations, as well as in the Rowland Heights areas, higher concentrations. And so we'll keep that in mind, again, as we draw these areas to ensure that the members of protected classes are given an increased influence through this process. So with that background information, what we're looking for through this public hearing process is suggestions, ideas, input in terms of how should these lines be drawn. We're coming at this with a bit of a blank slate, and it's often hard until you actually see some maps and ideas to give suggestions, but certainly open to hearing all the ideas that the community may have in terms of how these lines should be drawn. Some of the things that can be helpful to hear as we go through this process is that I think a particular neighborhood and another particular neighborhood makes sense to be together, that they represent a community of interest, that they are similar in characteristics and should be kept together in the same trustee area. I think certain roads are good dividing lines or not good dividing lines in some cases. You know, is the 60, is that a good dividing line? Nogales Street, is that a good dividing line? Or conversely, is there a corridor along one of those streets that it makes sense that both sides of that major road be kept together? Other things that could be, you know, what's a particular community should be in one area. We see on the map that you serve a variety of portions of different communities, and should that be a consideration in this process? Should each attendance boundary be in a single area or multiple areas? We often hear in school districts that, you know, while you're going to area election, you still, all 5 of you are responsible for all schools in the district. You have a fiduciary duty to all schools. And so to the extent you can have trustee areas that cross attendance boundaries so that you have multiple schools being represented by a trustee, that's a positive. And so if that's input from the community and the board, that's helpful to hear as well. So those are the kinds of items that are helpful as we go through this process. Any suggestions that folks in the community have, we'll certainly take those down, and as we draft these maps, we'll take them into consideration. With that, I'll turn it over for questions or the public hearing.
Perfect. So I did mention that we do have some translation services that are available, and I wanted those individuals to come to the mic and offer that so that you can.
Buenas noches. Hay personas que necesitan interpretación esta noche sobre este tema.
请问关于这个刚刚的选举法的改变，有没有什么问题，或者是需要做检查的？
네, 한국어로 서비스가 필요하신 분 말씀하십시오.
We will start the public hearing. The public hearing is for all interested parties to provide comments on the above-mentioned item. Hearing opened at 7:15 p.m.
Okay, I just have a very short comment, and this just amplifies the tragedy that we have Azusa Unified School District, which video syncs with Comcast, have a live thing. And here we are, something as important as this and the information this gentleman put out, and but for my camera back there, community gets nothing. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, hearing closed. Okay, hearing closed at 7:16 p.m. We will move on to the discussion action items on the agenda. The first item is 7A. May I have a motion and a second to adopt the course Sports Medicine and the textbook Principles of Athletic Training, a guide to